Your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Wake up.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of the new way.
Good morning. The Commissioner of Police says the probe into that report against an MP to wrap up shortly as the crisis center calls for action to fight sex crimes. And many failing to file disclosures, senators and public servants, among those who've not complied with the law. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, July 14th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. Also this morning, we're talking with the Bahamas Humane Society about Operation Pot Cake. That's all straight ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez says that police will very shortly wrap up their investigation into allegations made against North Abaco MP Kirk Cornish. Fernandez says he received recommendations regarding the investigation from the Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, which is currently being reviewed. Asked what the recommendations were, Fernandez said he didn't want to comment at the time. He was also asked when people can expect the probe to be wrapped up. Again, Fernandez saying just very, very shortly. The commissioner again fended off criticism that police have taken a very long time to investigate Cornish. He said, quote, "It's no slow moment, you know, if you understand investigations. Some investigations you will find different lines of inquiries, and this is one that highlighted a number of lines of inquiries, and that's what we were doing." On April 26th, police reported that Cornish turned himself in for questioning and was taken into custody in relation to the allegation. He was released the same evening. During his contribution to the recent 2023-24 budget debate in the House, Cornish said he envisions a Bahamas where a man is innocent until proven guilty. He also came under fire recently after he said that he is the Prime Minister of Abaco. He later apologized, stating that there's only one Prime Minister in the Bahamas. Decrying the significant increase in rape cases, primarily on New Providence this year, the Bahamas Crisis Center appealing to policymakers to, quote, do what needs to be done to ensure the accountability of sex offenders. The call coming after recent sex crimes were reported, including 2 separate cases of sexual assault on elderly women. In a statement signed by Crisis Center Director and longtime advocate Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson, statement saying, quote, the Bahamas Crisis Center reiterates its call for action and the need for swift action by the judicial system to address these types of assaults and to ensure the safety of our people. Why do we have to wait 5 and 6 years or more for these matters to be resolved? Enough is enough. In other news, Michelle Reckley, the former director of the Urban Renewal Program, back in court Thursday at the request of the defense. Reckley is accused of defrauding the government of more than $1 million through the Urban Renewal Small Homes Repair Program in Grand Bahama and laundering the money with the assistance of Kylon Vincent, Stephanie Colley, Christopher Simonet, and James Hall between December 5th, 2016 and February 24th, 2017. Reckley and her co-accused appeared before Assistant Chief Magistrate Subasola Swain for a status hearing. The prosecution was supposed to present an auditor's report from KPMG that had been requested by the defense on April 17th. Damien Gomez, KC, said that the report was crucial for cross-examination. However, no representative from the Director of Public Prosecution's office was present. The matter's been adjourned to September 11th. An accountant at RDC Partners and Associates denying stealing more than $200,000 from a client. Prosecutors allege that Kendronique Sims stole the money from the personal accounts of Mario Carey and the account of Better Homes and Gardens from 2019 through 2020. Sims denied charges of stealing by reason of employment at her arraignment before Acting Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. The expectant mother, who was due to give birth next month, was released on $30,000 bail. Her case has been adjourned to November 20th. And police discovering human remains on a dirt road off Carmichael Road on Wednesday. Police say the remains are of an unknown man. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. As soon as possible. And Governor General's Sir Cornelius A. Smith, acting on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, based on the advice of the Blue Ribbon Group comprising eminent historians, distinguished retired public servants, and leading figures in the media and cultural community, announcing the names of the individuals selected for the Special Golden Jubilee of Independence Award, in recognition of their outstanding contributions to the country in various spheres, encompassing both the pre-independence and post-independence periods of Bahamian history. The Special Golden Jubilee Award, similar to the award made in 1998 on the Silver Jubilee of Independence, except that the award has been expanded to include not only people who are still living, but also people who will be honored posthumously. You can read the full list in today's Nassau Guardian. Overseas, an Indian spacecraft blazing its way to the far side of the moon today in a follow-up mission to its failed effort nearly 4 years ago to land a rover softly on the lunar surface. Chandrayaan-3, the word for mooncraft in Sanskrit, taking off from a launch pad in southern India with an orbiter, a lander, and a rover in a demonstration of India's emerging space technology. The spacecraft is set to embark on a journey lasting slightly over a month before landing on the moon's surface later in August. Applause and cheers swept through mission control at the Space Center, where the Indian Space Research Organization's engineers and scientists celebrated as they monitored the launch of the spacecraft. Thousands of Indians cheered outside the Mission Control Center as well, waved the national flag as they watched the spacecraft rise into the sky. A successful landing would make India the fourth country after the United States, the Soviet Union, and China to achieve that feat. The six-wheeled lander and rover module is configured with payloads that would provide data to the scientific community on the properties of lunar soil and rocks, including chemical and elemental compositions. India's previous effort to land a robotic spacecraft near the moon's little explored south pole ended in failure in 2019. It entered the lunar orbit but lost touch with its lander and crashed while making its final descent to deploy a rover to search for signs of water. In sports, athletics getting underway at the Bahamas Games, the 6th edition of the Games. Continuing into day 7 as track and field got underway at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Basketball, golf, and softball also continuing. The New Providence Buccaneers leading the track and field portion in points and medals as they look to tighten the gap between them and Grand Bahama and the Lucayans. The Buccaneers picked up 31 medals on the first day, including 13 gold, 8 silver, and 10 bronze. They also lead in the point standing with 301 points. The Lucayans have the second most medals with 12 in total. That includes 4 gold, 7 silver, and 1 bronze. They're second in points with 167. The Andros Chickcharnies also have 12 medals, 4 gold, 3 silver, and 5 bronze. They're close behind the Lucayans in the point standings with 160 points sitting in third place. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. We've got slight troughing near the extreme northern islands combined with the passage of a tropical wave that's going to provide some unsettled weather across the islands. Boaters should be alert for the high possibility of waterspout activity, and beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along east and south coast beaches. And everybody, again, being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor sun exposure. Expecting another day of triple-digit heat indices. It's unrelenting, folks, unrelenting. So for today, for the Northwest Bahamas, we're looking at partly cloudy, hot, and humid conditions with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, cloudy, very warm, breezy, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft caution in effect. Gusty winds and higher seas will likely happen in or near showers and thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, but gusty at times. Seas 4 to 7 feet, but higher in gusts. Temperature-wise today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius. But again, the heat index will make it feel a whole lot hotter than that. Like we are well over the 100-degree mark. And overnight lows not getting down to a very warm 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity. It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it. My sales increased, and I can track my earnings. Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today. Call 356-7764.
Don't let go of your chance to win big with Alive on 700 Wines and Spirits. We've got an exclusive promotion just for you. Purchase 3 or more refreshing Click Rattlers and pair them with our Freedom 12 plan or higher at 700 Wines and Spirits. To enter the contest, simply write your name and phone number on the front of your receipt. Then snap a photo of your receipt and WhatsApp it to 242-805-7511. This promotion ends July 31st, 2023. Terms and conditions apply. Alive. Believe in best.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
There's a new electric vehicle in town, the Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing, hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Stephen Hatt will be joining us momentarily. Coming up this morning, we're going to be talking with the Bahamas Humane Society about Operation Pot Cake. And I'm going to ask him about this heat as well. And, caring for your pets with these temperatures, it's unbearable for humans. So imagine our little friends. So we're going to talk about that this morning. And later in business, we'll delve into this. IRCA investigating BPL's power outages. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about what you expect to come out of that. And that's all ahead. But we've got a lot to talk about right now in the news. All right, in the news, Commissioner of Police says the probe into the report, the probe into the claims that against the MP, and you know who they're talking about, Kirk Cornish from North Abaco, that's going to wrap up shortly. Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about this. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez said yesterday that police will very shortly wrap up their investigation into allegations made against North Abaco MP Kirk Cornish. Fernandez said he received recommendations regarding the investigation from the Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, which is currently being reviewed. The recommendations are being reviewed? Okay, so this is reviewed by the police, then went on to Director of Public Prosecutions, and now coming back to be reviewed. The same. Okay. Asked what the recommendations are, he said, quote, I will say, but not at this time. Asked when people can expect the probe to be wrapped up, Fernandez said, quote, very, very shortly. Now, the commissioner again fended off criticism that police have been slow to investigate Cornish. He said, quote, it's no slow moment, you know, if you understand investigations. Some investigations you will find different lines of inquiries, and this is one that highlighted a number of lines of inquiries, and that's what we're doing. We even had recommendations from our DPP to do some things. So we are following those lines of inquiries so that we ensure that everything is done in decency and order. On April 26th, police reported that Cornish turned himself in for questioning and was taken into custody in relation to the allegation. He was released the same evening. During his contribution to the recent 2023-24 budget debate in the House, he said he envisions a Bahamas where a man is innocent until proven guilty. He also came under fire recently after he said that he was the Prime Minister of Abaco. He later apologized, stating that there is only one Prime Minister in the Bahamas. Okay. So very, very shortly, making sure everything is done in decency and order. And we just say we wish that this should be the case for every single investigation. No? I think maybe we'd have a higher conviction rate when it comes to the courts. Makes sense, no? People getting out on bail on some real silly little things, and maybe we'd have a different story. Many different stories if we did everything like this. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. At the same time, we've got a big headline in the Nassau Guardian, a call for action to fight sex crimes. Crisis Center again decrying the rise in rapes and calling for the lawmakers and the judiciary to address these types of assaults, especially we had a number of women, elderly women in their 80s, in their homes assaulted, sexually assaulted. And so the Crisis Center says enough is enough. You may recall last month, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe reported that while overall crime was down 30% in the first 5 months of the year compared to last year, for the same period, rape reports were up. On New Providence, such reports were up by 64%. Rape reports fell on Grand Bahama, though, by 56%. And rape reports fell in the rest of the Family Islands as well by 33%. But the increase on New Providence drove an overall increase in rape. Now, the Crisis Center in statement asking, quote, how many more of us will be violated? When are we going to do our due diligence as a nation? How many more will fall prey to sexual predators? The Crisis Center condemns the animalistic behavior of the men who raped 2 elderly women in their homes over the last 2 weeks and the behavior of the perpetrator who raped the 17-year-old after offering her a ride in the rain. She's been faced with the criticism by many in the public domain for accepting the ride. It seems we are more outraged by the behavior of the victim than that of the perpetrator. Why does it seem to be easier for the many in the Bahamian public to show little concern for the victims of sexual assault? We have 2 elderly women brutally beaten and raped in their homes invaded by a man who was already known for sexual assault crimes and who was out on bail for those reported charges. Now, police have identified separate suspects in relation to both of those matters. Just to point out, earlier this week, police reported they arrested a 50-year-old man believed to be responsible for the burglarizing a Centerville home and sexually assaulting an 82-year-old. That was around 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday. According to reports received by police, the woman was asleep in her home when she was awoken and assaulted by the man. Police said the suspect, who had been in custody several times in relation to similar offenses, was arrested around 1 p.m. in Mount Tabor Estates. Now, while speaking out against bail grants for individuals who allegedly committed more crimes while on bail after being charged with other crimes, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander last month pleaded with the system to get it right. His renewed appeal came after a 19-year-old Warren Street resident who was on bail accused of sexual assault was arrested in connection with 2 recent sexual assaults, including an attack on an 83-year-old woman. The commissioner pleaded, he said, quote, "We continue to say that the culprits continue like a revolving door. In pleading for the system, we need to get it right, because it's the same revolving door." Now, yesterday, the Crisis Center said that Bahamian statistics are frightening, as reflected in the recent police reports of a 64% increase in reported sexual offenses for the year. It seems that there are almost daily reports in the media of some incident of sexual violation of women and children. For far too long, perpetrators have been allowed to rape women and children, boys and girls, and now elderly persons with impunity and without consequences. We are good at talking the talk, but it's now time to walk the walk. It is long overdue that we put in place a properly resourced sexual offenses court and strengthen the capacity of the police forensic unit to analyze rape kits. Wow, okay, so a lot being said there. We clearly have a crisis. Let's talk about it. What say you on this? Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll-free, 242-300-5720. We know everyone talks about it, innocent until proven guilty, but the people out on bail seem to be the number one terrorist group in the country. They are really terrorizing everybody, allegedly, yeah, right. But what are we going to do here? This is not making any sense. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. 422-4796, again, standard text rates apply. What are we going to do? It is not getting any better. Not going to get any better. Doesn't appear that it's going to get better either. What will we do? All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
You're over 50 now.
Who? The country? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we then start the same, we right back on the same process what we left 50 years ago, right? The point I'm making to you, Dwight, right? I don't know when we as Bahamians can realize that the system that governs this country, all of it, right? All of it, right, is not interested in stomping out some of these problems that was plaguing us for 50 years, Dwight. They're not interested. Because why? It makes good money. It makes good money.
For whom?
For them, not for nobody else. This is why they are not changing it, because if they weren't making no money from it, probably they would have got angry enough to say, you know what, let's change this. But it has to be some type of benefit involved to why 50 years we still trying to figure out why this ain't working and why that ain't working. They only not working because the people we have in our parliament, they're not interested in making nothing to work. Because let's prove it. Anything these people want to work, they ensure that it does. anything, especially if it's beneficial to them, right? We ain't seen no in the last 50 years. In the last 50 years, we was limping along in this country, right? And all we get from in my view, in the last 50 years, is a bunch of winding politicians. They craft this art to deceive the Bahamian people with flattering words and we ain't benefit from that. We have to change this system that governs this country, and all those politicians from the 50 years past, because all of them are demonstrating, because you can't even hear none of them advocating for no change.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, what system are you talking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the governing system, right? I'm talking about the social system, the religious system, every aspect of the system that structured this Bahamas. It failed every aspect of it, right? And this is why we can't see no benefits in this country in no way. You had the people. You talking about raping elderly people, Dwight, right? And couldn't we? If we were serious as a nation, right? We just celebrate 50 years. You know, it should have been announced on that ceremony. More stringent acts. Laws that we're not going to tolerate in this new 50 years. That's what it should have been. They should have been saying, look, we are not going to tolerate what we tolerated the last 50 years, because we have to grow a nation.
You mean at the independence celebrations?
That's what I believe, because that's the level of the crisis what we face in this country.
I mean, if it said the next day, it's just as effective.
Right? I know, but I'm just saying, right? So, but I'm just saying because, the amount of crisis, and everybody, every Bahamian, every foreigner who lives in this country could relate to the crisis in this country, except the Parliament. The Parliament is oblivious to what's going on.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're oblivious. They just, like you said, they might not care, which is worse. But thank you very much. Appreciate it. Clearly a lot of frustration there. Stephen had a good morning. But yeah, very disturbing.
People who are not in Parliament who also are removed far away enough from it that they don't. I wouldn't even say they don't care. It's that they feel like, oh, well, those people.
That's not caring.
No, that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, if you say that's not caring, but I don't know if that's not caring. That's something else. Like, it's beyond indifference. They feel like that is the way it. Like, they feel that because they bought into this weird version of personal responsibility, they feel like everything bad that happens is somehow the person that it happened to's fault. Mm-hmm. Until it happens to them. Then it's like, oh, now things are getting out of hand.
Yeah, well, that falls under the not caring umbrella.
But I mean, that also, the whole thing where it's like, rape, when is this going to change? It'll change when rapists start raping old men. Because these people are incapable of empathy, so they have to literally experience it themselves. And that sounds horrible, right? Like a decent, normal human being would be like, I don't need to see somebody get knocked down to say nobody should get knocked down. Right. But there are people who are like, well, if you get knocked down, you get knocked down. And it isn't until they're sitting inside their house and a car careens through their wall that they're like, oh, now we need driver's ed. Now we need this. Now we need that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have two choices. You could have empathy, or one day this is going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm. Let's take these calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, quickly, I'd like to get my take on this. We seem to be living in an environment in a world where we have two forces. We have a force of good and we have a force of evil. So let's just retract this now. Do you speak Latin? Probably not. But when you take the L out of the word Latin and you replace it with S, you solve this puzzle. Let me show it to you.
Satin?
Latin. The word Latin, the language.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How do you spell?
Put S where L is, and what you get.
Remind me how you spell Latin, Stephen.
Latin.
So you're talking about Satin.
Latin. I'm talking about Satan.
Right. No. Latin is IN. So if you replace the L, it's Satin. So I don't know what you say. What do you say?
Oh, it's not. It's not Satan.
Now maybe it's Santa and Satan when you mix the letters around.
We know
about that one.
Yeah, but it only works if you're a confused person.
Yeah.
Only a confused person would say, "Oh, let's jumble all the letters together and make a new word."
You'd be surprised.
Also, you know how dumb it is to take the word saint and say, "No, that's actually the word Satan," because Santa is the word saint. That's why you
How is it?
look it up, Dwight.
Okay.
That's why
We're all getting
that's where Santa Claus comes
what was
from.
your point? What was your point?
There's no point.
The point I'm trying to make
because
is
Saturn is terrible. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially in this heat. In this heat, it's very bad. You wouldn't want Saturn.
It will rub you the wrong way.
Right.
Right. The point I'm trying to make is the actual group of persons who crucified Christ were the Romans, and we have the biggest church, the Roman Catholic Church, that people attend, and they worship him, and the priests speak Latin.
Okay. I think it would be better to have a discussion about Saturn than what you were trying to do. Now, let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Turn on your radio for us, please.
Okay, pardon me. Dwight, congratulations, Strachan, West you and Stephen, across your audience. Dwight, the problem we have in this country, too many people want to mix politics with religion. And you see, other thing is, right, if the police would do their job, they would pass a bar, right, where little children are hanging up among grown-ups. That shouldn't be. Okay? The thing is, nobody wants to do the right. Everybody wants to just put themselves in the position where they could just, what you would call, communicate with everything and everybody the same way, other than the right way. And that's the problem in this country. Okay? Right now I have a problem, right? Not say because of this situation. But the thing is, I had called the police over and over for a guy who hangs out on my walkway, sleeps on my porch occasionally. When the police comes, occasionally they would say, well, he crazy. That's not my problem. Do your job. And that's the problem we have in this country. Nobody wants to do their job other than to work and wait for their pension. They're jiving. That's the problem we have in this country, Dwight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You raise a good point, though. Clearly, the rules about liquor stores and bars are no one remembers.
No, they don't exist.
Oh,
they don't
because
exist.
The number of children I'm seeing in liquor stores,
Dwight.
Not that I'm frequently in them, but I'm just saying the number of children who are in liquor stores walking around.
You're not even supposed to be on the premises. And then, anyway, you know what, Dwight?
It's crazy.
Can we establish that there's a difference between a liquor store and a bar? Mm-hmm. And we need to revoke.
Children aren't supposed to be in any of them.
No, I know, right? But we need to. Well, that's the thing. Technically speaking, if your bar is attached to a restaurant, a child can be on the premises. They just can't consume alcohol. Okay. Here's the thing, though. These liquor stores, you're not supposed to drink on the premises. If you look at almost every liquor store on this island, there is a cavalcade of persons who, these are not casual drinkers. These are people who have a serious alcohol addiction problem. All right? And there are several that I could point out specifically where there are men younger than me at 10 o'clock in the morning laid off in front of it.
You're going in a different direction.
I'm saying the irresponsibility of these business owners.
Show to talk about alcoholics.
No. It's not about alcoholics. Mm-hmm. It's about the irresponsibility of these business owners. Mm-hmm. Part of your liquor license is you only can open certain times. You only allow, people are not supposed to drink on your premises. Your premises includes your parking lot. Mm-hmm. All right? Okay. All these different things. They need to have their licenses revoked. And inclusive of why there are children on your premises.
Yes. All right. So I just want you all to notice that the calls we're getting further and further away from the rape issue. And the sexual deviance issue. And this often happens when somebody tries to talk about this, right? Everything else gets brought up besides the fact that we have a bunch of sex predators walking around in this country. because everybody's deflecting. And that's a sign of the problem here as well. Let's take this call, and then we're going to get, we've got to take a break and get to your messages. And then I want to get to the big headline of the Tribune, because clearly this is a game. Clearly this is a game, and it's time for us to really start losing our minds over some people. The Tribune saying that many have failed still to file their disclosures. So obviously this is a big joke to everybody.
Anyway.
But we'll get to that in a bit. But let's let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air. Turn on your radio, please. Turn on your radio for us, please.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Every year, the people scream and cry about the laws on this and that and all that. But then they have a chance to fix it. If you can keep putting these people back in, who keep promising you to fix these laws and everything and all that for the rape and murders and everything and all that, what you think happen? You know, these people they when election time comes, they forget all the things they've been making noise for and everything and all that. They get feed. Get a little bit some T-shirt, little plywood thing on their house. They forget about the law, and they forget they're in the system. So now, when they put these people in, they only get about 4 years to go or 3 years to go. Now they can cry and complain. We need them.
Mm-hmm.
We need. These people need them. Put these people to their feet to the fire when time is election.
Absolutely.
They can't. You know what I mean? They can't be every 5 years. They forget. Every 5 years, they forget.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But they were just lying, right? They just said whatever you wanted to hear what they think you wanted to hear, so you could, or you just hate the other party so much that you one of them. But everybody's just making false promises, and we're so desperate to hear somebody say something that I don't know what's going on. We've lost it. We really have. It's sad. We're on a vicious hamster wheel. It's just never going to end. The same thing over and over. Yeah. Well, I guess until everybody's held up at gunpoint, robbed, raped, then it won't change, as you were saying, Stephen, right? Or the key people. Let's take this call, and then we've got to take that break. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? No? Okay, so let's go to the break. When we come back, we'll get to your text messages. And then we'll get to the other big issues in the news today. This is Morning Blend on a Friday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Well, anyway, I can fall down the road to see if he down this place down the road. And if he down there, there's going to be some problems. Because guess what? I got a headache and I tired mine. Every other night. Andrew would call round, tell him nice little wife he gotta work late. But he go to the bar to catch a few with the boys. Let dominoes, drink liquor and make noise.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. They're on strike. Actors will picket alongside writers in New York and Los Angeles. Union leaders voted unanimously for a strike over pay, the use of artificial intelligence to replace actors' work, and other issues.
It's only going to get worse.
Fran Drescher is the president of the union, SAG-AFTRA.
This is where we drew the line in the sand, and it's a terrible thing to have to do. But we were forced into it.
Fran Drescher, the union president. The studios say they've offered historic pay and residual increases and an AI proposal that protects actors' digital likenesses, among other things. There were 28 mass killings in the first 6 months of this year in this nation. All but one involved guns. In Italy, many are denouncing a court verdict clearing a school janitor of a sexual assault charge for groping a 17-year-old student because, and we're quoting, "It was just a few seconds, and it wasn't sexual," says the court. I'm Rita Foley.
It's time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan. In your real-time traffic, Mile Butler Highway, as usual, your hotspot, but manageable at this hour. We're seeing some traffic just north of the roundabout fire trail, so as you approach Harold Pond, you'll see that if you're heading northbound. Gets a little bit heavier as you get closer to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway, of course. Over on Glasson Road, much better story for you, looking pretty good until you get to Munnings Road, northbound to JFK Drive. Elsewhere, not looking bad at all. Blue Hill Road, some building traffic as you get over that hill, heading toward Independence Drive. And some building traffic on Robinson Road between Soldier and Old Trail. That's about it. We'll have another update for you, though, after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan. And time for another check of your weather, brought to you by the Bahamas Games. Here's what's happening. We've got a slight troughing near the extreme northwest Bahamas and northern islands, combined with the passage of a tropical wave that's going to provide more unsettled weather across the islands. Boaters should be alert for possible water spout activity. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along east and south coast beaches. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor sun exposure during peak sunlight hours, as we've got another day with high heat indices. So for the northwest Bahamas today, partly cloudy, hot, and humid with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms. For the central and southeastern islands, cloudy, very warm, and breezy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting up to 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's well over 100 Fahrenheit. And overnight lows tonight getting down to a very warm 84 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. In your extended outlook for the weekend, we've got high pressure that will remain across the islands throughout the weekend, and a surface trough will increase shower activity across the northwest and central Bahamas tomorrow. In the tropics, an area of low pressure about 1,000 miles west-southwest of the Azores has about a 70% chance of cyclone development through the next 48 hours. No threat to the Bahamas, though. We'll keep you updated on that. But that is your Morning Blend Weather Check. Weather Check brought to you by the Bahamas Games, going on now. For more information, call 322-1029 or follow the Bahamas Games on social media at Bahama Games.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Look at Grand Bahama now.
So we slipping mess?
This you know, it's not over.
That's right, because we can still, win.
What? Basketball, track, soccer, golf, softball.
Wait, trust me, you won't see none of that.
Except on paper. So get your tickets now.
Child, you have to go to www.thebahamasgames.org. Oh, at the Candlelight Gymnasium.
Your Seattle Mutton was captain, and Long Island takes sailing. Bah. We simply the best. Bah.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan. Island Game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan. Dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan. Island Game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan. From the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
A lot of folks are wondering, what is the Agrarian Awards? It's an award show to celebrate the people who produce the food that feeds the country. So September 16th, we're giving out trophies and money to young farmers, backyard farmers, sheep runners, goat herders, pea pickers, onion planters, basically everyone. But we couldn't fit all that on the invite, so we put Agrarian Awards instead. Go to ADOBahamas.org to find out how to nominate your favorite agrarian. The Agrarian Awards, September 16th.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Atlantic Medical and Life Insurance. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
The Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority invites all private companies and civic organizations to adopt a roundabout. This is your chance to stand out from the crowd. Beautify and enhance our local areas for residents and tourists alike. Just in time for the 50th anniversary of our independence. With this opportunity, you can engage persons on the go, generate media interest, and promote your company. Stand out and celebrate 50. For more information, you can call 242-604-3750.
Summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, or prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Love
Well, welcome back. Oh my goodness! Yeah, right. Just in time to save you, please, sir. Oh my God! Thank you, Mr. Producer, because this man was about to go down the darkest road in the history of. Oh Lord! Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. It's Dwight Strong with Stephen Hanna. So we're gonna get back to our discussion with the crisis center saying, but I'm just pointing out the stuff. This is what led Stephen to almost lose his mind just now. So we're waiting for this very long investigation into the MP. In the other paper, it says no update yet on the children beaten in Bimini. I felt like that was years ago, but yeah, more than 4 months ago, after several students were beaten and bruised by a police officer at the school. They're still waiting. No update on that. We were talking about we still have no final word on the investigation into the immigration officers who slapped the Haitian barbers.
You never will.
We're just waiting for investigations to be wrapped up. Takes so long. Oh my goodness! Wow. What is going on?
But I promise you, if the right person was to get slapped in the barbershop, that'd be done in less than a year.
Less than a what?
Less than a
Less
year.
than a week.
Right? That person would be buried so far and so deep.
Maybe by
so
the end of the
quickly.
day.
Right? It's the problem is the wrong poor people keep getting slapped.
Yeah.
When poor people stop getting slapped and beat, because I promise you another thing, if those children were the descendants of rich
Or
people,
at a private school.
No, it can't just be a private school, because I promise you.
The right private school. How
Right,
about
the
that?
right
Yeah.
private school. Because the private school I went to, I sure a police officer could have come there, slapped my head off, and that would have come out of that.
That's true.
Right?
That is certainly
But
true.
now, if you go to the right private school, they ask why are police here in the first place, and then the parents will start taking their children out to school. The school will issue,
especially if they're out west,
a press release out west or all the way out east. In every direction, because all the rich private schools in the bushes, because they got all the weird lines
on the extremes. Yes,
yeah,
extremities.
So all of those, right? I promise you, one day,
oh boy,
it would have been resolved in less than a week. It would never happen again.
Talk time though. It's
right?
the day.
Assistant commissioners of police would have to tender their resignation. That's how high up it would go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the problem is everybody wants to slap up poor people, and the same thing applies to the same thing with the how much money you make in, right? Inland revenue clearly needs to take over this declaration situation, because
we'll get to that in a second. Let's get to that in a second. Okay, so let me get through these
connected.
messages. It is all connected
only-
because nobody has any regard for the law in this country
When
and for people's
you
rights.
are poor, when you are rich, they will find the most arbitrary. You forget they arrest people for what it is, libel and slander.
Okay.
If the rich person is offended, but I could say people call it all the time and say all type of things but Dwight and me. You see any police go and arrest them?
Soon though.
These fat donkeys.
Wow. Let's take this call, then we'll get your text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Chester.
Stephen, good morning.
Close enough.
Listen, I'm not going to slander you guys because Dwight said the police can come soon, so I got to back off that one. But I wanted to get to the public's attention, right? Last night, the road paving crew was out East Street South paving. The gentleman that is in charge of directing the traffic to make sure that everything goes right tried to speak to another gentleman in a car, letting him know that the road was closed. And, the young man got out of his car, got a rock, and burst that man in his head for doing his job.
I don't believe you. No way.
That happened last night. They had to call the ambulance to take the young man to the hospital. I just wanted to bring that because when those guys working, I think police need to work with them because this now is going to get very dangerous for them because who knows what the next person is going to do.
Did they arrest that guy? Were people able to stop him?
I heard that the police was called. However, by the time they get there, the guy was gone.
Did anybody get his license plate or anything?
They didn't because they said everything happened so fast.
You saw this yourself?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it happened so fast for them, they did not realize that the young man was going to do that.
This is crazy.
I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention.
Well, I hope when they find this scum bucket, I hope he's charged with attempted murder. Because this is insane. And I saw something the other day in a supermarket. I mean, you'd think this would be a simple process. Somebody asking, I don't know why you get so heated over meat, asking the butcher to cut the meat in a certain way, and he started getting so loud and carrying on and cursing and calling the butcher names, cursing at him and the worst things. And everybody in the whole store is like looking around, what is going on? And some older people that come to him and say, calm down, it's going to be okay. What is going on? Right? Because why are you getting so upset? And if you cut this yourself, what's going on? Everybody is too close to the edge. I don't know if it's the heat, but something is very wrong. And this is, as you said, all related because this violence that we're seeing.
Oh, because you only have patience for rich people. Nobody have patience for other poor people. The minute we have an opportunity to kick somebody because we've been penting up all this frustration at the entire system all our life, we kick somebody else, all right? It's like, because, I mean, that is, whatever.
Okay, let me get to the messages. Here we go. Judgment text messages about the the young person who was raped who accepted a ride. This person says, even at 16 or 17, you bear some responsibility for your actions and decisions. Even women in this country asked why the heck she got in the car with a stranger. Getting in a car with a stranger in any case makes no sense. The Crisis Center can't blame sensible and reasonable people for thinking this. Say no to rides. I hope you feel good about your text. I mean, right? It was raining apparently, and maybe the person looked decent. I don't know. But, you could say all those things, but that doesn't mean that you deserve to give up all of your rights. Right?
Dwight.
Come on.
And once again, this all goes back.
And you have said nothing about the guy.
Of course not.
You did not even say, well, even though that guy is a piece of crap, not even that. You can't even add that to your text. Everything is about, okay.
Because it's the victim's fault, Dwight. I already said this. The problem is that most of these people, right, have this understanding inside their head. And it's a very capitalist idea that if you are dumb enough to get taken advantage of, then you deserve to get taken advantage of. And people will tell you that all in every sphere of life, right? And that is, if you lack empathy for people who don't know any better, who may be ignorant of the wild injustices that exist inside the world, then one day it's going to happen to you because everybody has somebody that's smarter than them in something. So continue to say, oh, it was her fault for getting in the car. One of these days, you're going to get in the wrong car. And you're going to remember that text and you're going to say, wow, I wish that somebody had done something to protect me because I was ignorant of this situation. But you lack empathy. You lack empathy for everybody except for yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, this person's
no.
I mean, because it doesn't matter. I mean, you might know the person. Right? It could be a cop. It could be a politician. It could be a pastor. So you got in the car. It wasn't even a stranger. What about it?
It don't matter, Dwight. The whole point is because you lack empathy and you cannot see anything except for it ain't ever happened to me, so that person must be dumb. One of these days, when it happened to you, no one will be around to defend you. And they're going to repeat the same dumbness that you've been saying all this time. Matter of fact, I'm going to start taking down what callers say, right? So that when these callers call in to complain about, oh, this person do something to them or the politician do this to them, we're like, oh, well, why did you vote? Why did you decide to be born in the Bahamas?
Oh, boy.
Why did you decide to breathe there?
All right, let me get to the rest of these. Why doesn't the press start inquiring into other cases of rape allegations, the processing times and outcomes to do a comparison? Because I will bet there will be another Stonewall response concerning the commissioner on Cornish. I mean, well, I don't know what you're suggesting, really, but if, we know fully well that this is very long. Many people, I mean, it doesn't take this long to get charged with rape, and it moves along much faster than this.
To get charged of rape, for people to say your name aloud. It's like some Freddy Krueger stuff.
So that's already been proven, and everybody knows, no matter how much the commissioner denies, we wish they would investigate every matter like this.
This thoroughly, right? And gently.
Because we would have better outcomes everywhere in the country. The court system, we would have fewer people walking around here with ankle bracelets and on bail.
No one would get killed because nothing would get
It would be so different if they would do everything like this. So we don't, in decency and order. Clearly, they don't do other things in decency and order. But this one, they must. This person says, this is a corrupt country, Dwight. They're looking for loopholes to get that MP off. We need to work on a progressive plan, and that includes shutting the PLP out when the time comes. Hey, just the PLP. The F&M is the same thing.
Dwight, I venture to say that
thing.
all political parties are political parties. So including all of your precious new third-party variants of foolishness, they're all the same thing.
Well, I'm going to start a thing that we need to start saying, calling them second parties, because the F&M and the PLP are one of the same.
Well, I don't listen. I don't want to legitimize those people.
That doesn't mean anything. It's still.
I don't want to legitimize.
But we've been stuck with one party that changes the color of their shirt every 5 years.
You want to know what the party is?
Every 5 years.
Never mind. Let me keep that going.
Satin. It's a satin party.
Could you once again, Dwight, say Santa?
Let's move on. Anyway, I think the things that will finally change, when it starts to hit at our legislators' doorstep. Yeah, this is what you were saying earlier.
But it should change before that. I don't want people to only care about murder when they are murdered or about to be murdered. I want people to care about murder when it's not even on the same island as them, when they're like, oh my goodness, that's a horrible thing that happened, right? You need to be able to care about murder even if you don't know the person, even if the person was a piece of garbage.
This person says here, the Assistant Commissioner on Grand Bahama sent the file to the Commissioner of Police for the Commissioner of Police to check his work. The Commissioner made corrections and sent the file to the DPP, who checked the Commissioner's homework. The DPP made conclusions and recommendations, and now the COP has to study and redo the assignment. It certainly does feel like that's what's happening. This person says here, we have a government working against the majority of its citizens, and the opposition is part of why that's the way that it is. I say government and not any party. Our women can't even unite and support each other for leadership. I don't know why you put that in there. Okay. God help you all children in 10 years, because collectively we are all idiots to keep supporting the same clowns in darkness. So I blame F&M or PLP for how they do in the nation. Okay.
This person doing the same thing where they blaming the victim. Everybody will blame the victim.
Did anyone investigate the illegal immigrants or Haitians that attacked immigration officers? When did that happen?
Inside the Texas line. Inside the Texas line.
Okay.
Because even if it did happen, was there a news report about it?
I don't know.
Was there a video about it?
And,
but we're talking about something that we witnessed.
Nobody's talking about rape at all here in these text messages. It's the young men who are just. It's the young men who are just idiots in this country. One yesterday was basically standing up in the middle of the road, and I had to go around him, and he screamed out for me to watch it. Now, if I'd knocked that guy down, I would have been in the wrong. It's not just the young men. It's the young women, the old men, the old women. It's everybody, and it's the whole place. We've got a lot of issues, a lot of social problems. We're going to pick this up on the other side of the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us, Facebook us, or text us 422-4796. And now at 8:18, it's time for another look at your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a severe weather warning in effect now for portions of the central Bahamas. The thunderstorm warning's in effect for Ragged Island, Rum Key, Long Island, and Great Exuma. That's in effect until 9:35 this morning. The Department of Meteorology says that they're observing a cluster of moderate to locally heavy showers with embedded thunderstorms associated with the westward moving tropical wave that's moving northwestwards towards and across the warning areas. Some of the thunderstorms will be severe at times, causing strong gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. Boaters in the warning area should seek safe harbor, and residents should stay indoors and away from windows if conditions worsen. So, it's all part of the troughing that we're seeing near the extreme North Bahamas, northern islands, combined with the passage of that tropical wave affecting the central and southern islands. All of this creating some unsettled weather. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, we'll continue to see partly cloudy, hot, and humid conditions with isolated showers or thunderstorms. In the central and southeast Bahamas, cloudy, very warm, breezy, widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Temperature-wise, we're expecting another hot day. Highs getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, with the heat index in the triple digits again. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities in the sun. Overnight lows tonight getting down to a very warm 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. And for the weekend, we're expecting that high pressure will remain across the islands throughout the weekend, while a surface trough will increase shower activity across the northwest and central Bahamas tomorrow. In the tropics, an area of low pressure located about 1,000 miles southwest of the Azores has about a 70% chance of cyclone development through the next 48 hours. The system poses no threat to the Bahamas, though. That is your morning blend weather check. Weather check brought to you by Bahamas First. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And at 8:21, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan. In your real-time traffic, things getting a little busier out there on the streets of New Providence. We've got heavy traffic now on Milo Butler Highway from the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Traffic even backed up a bit along Fire Trail eastbound to that roundabout. Over on Glasson Road, looking better for you still, only until you get to about Bunnings Road. If you're heading northbound, you'll see that heavy traffic on the way to JFK Drive. Building traffic on Carmichael eastbound to Blue Hill Road, and Blue Hill is busy just north of Soldier on the way to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Independence Drive traffic backed up a bit westbound to Blue Hill Road. Elsewhere, we've got some building traffic on Marathon northbound to Wolf Road and Robinson Road. Not bad, but busy between Soldier and Old Trail. And Village and Shirley Streets looking a bit congested there. Remember, the traffic lights aren't up, so you're going to have to negotiate with other drivers, and so we're seeing some congestion there. Be careful in that area. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan.
chains holding me. I just need to be free. I'm ready to party. The fire in my soul. I'm ready to let go. Get ready to party. It's in my head. It's in my feet. It's in my soul.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with the Bahamas Humane Society. Operation Pot Cake, Op 24. We're going to get details about that in just a bit. All right, so we want to wrap up what we've been discussing and get quickly to the disclosures issue. We've been talking about the Crisis Center and their call for action to fight sex crimes. And so we've been getting reaction to that, but the messages are all over the place. People not really talking about this, and we're
because they do
disturbed
not
about this.
care, Dwight. I don't understand why you don't think that they care.
Yeah, well, I'm very disturbed by it. Very disturbed. Okay, so the person earlier who sent the text about the 16, 17-year-old having to take responsibility for getting in the car with strangers, they didn't like what we said. We said that there was no mention of blaming the perpetrator in your text. All you do was blame the victim. So they've texted us back. You guys are not being real and took my text out of context.
No, we read
I
it.
had 2 friends who died that picked up strangers. I'm just saying you have to be careful. Would you guys not tell your child not to get into a car with a stranger? Anyhow, think what you want. You guys don't know people, but pass judgment on your show. I have sympathy and empathy. My mom was raped before. Stop judging me and wishing me harm.
I'm not wishing you harm. I'm telling you what's going to happen. That's 2 different things.
Okay.
I don't know if it's empathy if the person is somebody that you know, because that's just sympathy. Like,
Texter, you
feel bad. You feel bad for your mother because you know her. Do you feel bad for people that you do not know or do not care about?
Mm-hmm. Did your mother do something wrong? Is that why she got raped?
Do you hear how horrible that sounds?
What did she do? You wouldn't like anyone to say that, right? So that's all.
And
we apologize if you feel sorry for your mother. But, so that people don't get the wrong idea in your text messages, how about you call in so that people can hear you? And so we can understand better.
Yeah, and the other thing is...
Let me give the numbers so they can do that. Because if I'm reading your text...
I will read it.
Oh, yes. It's going to be read the way I'm seeing it.
My emphasis.
And it may not be what you want. So call in. Why don't you do that? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. 242-300-5720. Blaming the victim... Never the best thing. But yes, no one should get in the car with a stranger, especially, right? It is true.
But
because people in this country are sick. So don't do it.
No one's saying that.
But you'd be surprised. It's the people you know who are going to mess you up the most.
First of all, the majority of people who are raped by people who they know. All right? Being raped by a stranger is the rarer of the occurrences. Number 2, we could say, okay, don't get in vehicles with strangers. Okay, fine. Nobody ever gets in a vehicle with a stranger ever again. Does that stop people from breaking into the houses of 80-something-year-old women and raping them? No.
And stopping on the side of the road and kidnapping you.
Exactly,
which happens a lot as well.
Does that stop them from being a bus driver and taking advantage of a young girl? No, because that's also rape. I don't know if you guys know that. Does it stop a random principal from inviting a student into his office to hug her and kiss her on the mouth and tell her he love her? No. So at some point, right, it doesn't even make sense to harp on that point. Yes, we all know going forward, no one needs to get into a vehicle with a stranger.
Ever.
And everybody should tell their children that. With that said, that has already been stated. You know what hasn't been stated? Hey, what made this person who grew up in the Bahamas, who lives in the Bahamas, feel comfortable enough to do this thing and get away with it? Even if it was a sick fantasy of theirs, what made them say, yeah, I could get away with this. This makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's not what's been, let's poke and prod at that, as opposed to saying, why did a child do a child thing?
This is just misogyny going on here. People just really, really...
I mean, because they're a bunch of
really
rapists, right?
hate the women. Listen to this text. Dwight, you seem quite balanced when we were talking about this rape case, but I hope you blame the mothers who raised these criminals too, since you're saying blame the guy and girl. Yeah, sure, why not? Everybody. What if these women are straight up lying?
Stop.
It gets worse. Hold on. What if these women are straight up lying? I see you don't ever talk about false allegations ever, like they don't ever happen over here. We must have some of the most honest women living in this hemisphere. Don't some old women kiss men in church? Why is it so different from a principal doing the same thing? What? No? What?
The fact that this person has defended every single thing. Like they did, like, God, I'm waiting for the rest of it. Like maybe you don't know what that person did to that knife. The knife had to stab them because the person talked bad about the knife mummy. Is that what any other defense of stupidity? Like, come on, caller. I'm sorry, texter. No one is saying that if somebody falsely accuses somebody, and I've heard persons say on this station and definitely on this show that anybody who falsely accuses somebody should also be thrown in jail. All right? That's not a thing that hasn't been said. But the fact that you would jump and say, well, blame the mothers. Wait, pause. Why are we blaming the mothers for raising horrible sons? Are the fathers not around? Well, I encourage you, texter, if we're blaming the parents, right? Then what we should do is every time somebody rapes somebody, find the wayward father who didn't raise his son properly and throw him in jail as well.
Oh, dear.
How about we do that? How about every time a man cheats on his wife, we give him 7 years because he's breaking up the good. No, because how many people will call in and say, "Oh, the gays are breaking up the family structure," but then in their same church they have 37 men with 37 different children from 36 different women. But I'm saying, stop being hypocrites. Stop getting defensive because somebody is finally knocking on your door, right? And do the right thing. Be empathetic and say, before this gets to me and my own, I can see where this is wrong. Let me stop defending it because I looking at it and saying, oh, that could have been me 10 years ago, or that could have been my son 10 years ago, or that. But stop doing that. We are here right now. Do the right thing. Admit that these things are wrong and look at the perpetrator and say, you should not do that. And we as a community need to step up. And when we see things starting to veer off course, stand up and say something about it.
Okay, this text here, Dwight, respectfully, I ask, what can you and your show do to not just talk about the injustices that we see, but somehow highlight them?
It's a talk show. This isn't action.
Hold on. Highlight them to the point where there is change in action and not inaction. Well, okay. I suspect that there would be conversations that would subtly suggest that you tone down whatever it is that you're doing, highlighting the issues. I'm not quite following your text there, but who's it going to be? Where will the action come from? What do you want? You want me to be out there on the streets with leading a protest? Because I think that's what you might be suggesting. Or will this inspire the Bahamian people to do something? Which one is it? Because that's the only thing that you all will think is action. If I'm out there getting myself arrested. Is that what you think?
But do I 4 people to get out there?
But right? why aren't you all getting up and saying, every day he's talking about these things on the show, and it's the same thing he's been talking about for 12 years, and yet
we're skipping a step. We're skipping a step because the reason why it is so difficult to get Bahamians to go out and protest the power always cutting off. How much people downtown saying we tired of this, switch to solar, BPL need to change or whatever. How much people doing that? None. All right? Same thing with gas prices. Same thing with crime. Same thing with all these different things, right? And there have been tons of people who are popular and unpopular who've asked, come downtown, march with me on this matter. And nothing has ever happened. If you want people to get to the point of marching, they have to see it to be an important and immediate need that needs to be addressed, right? And the way you get to that point is, let's have this discussion. Having a discussion about rape in this country proves to us that the average Bahamian, at least based on what the callers are calling in and saying, based on what the texters are texting in, is not a big deal, right? And so we have to continue to have the discussion to get those people who think that it's fine to rape somebody because they clearly had it coming. We have to have the discussion to get those people to realize that they are wrong. We have to get the people who think, oh, it's fine that somebody on Padolio Street get headshot every Saturday morning. They think that's okay. because they don't live Padolia Street. We need to get those people to realize that, hey, we don't want any Bahamians, we don't want anybody in this country to be murdered. All right? And so that is why the conversation needs to be had. You want to get change to happen? Change don't happen if people ain't thinking that change is important. I'm okay with my house being dirty because it ain't, whatever, my house dirty. That's just how it is.
Okay. We're going to leave this there. Crisis Center, clearly we've got a big problem, and you're going to be working harder than ever, it seems, because something is not quite right in the place. Anyway,
it's partially a mental health issue as well.
It sounds like it's a giant mental health issue, boy. So is that what's the reason behind this as well? Because disclosures, the deadline is March, and it's almost August, and many still have not filed. Senators and public servants, according to the Tribune, among those who have not complied. The Public Disclosure Commission Chairman Bishop Victor Cooper says many senators, there's only a few of them, but many senators and senior civil servants failed to disclose their assets, income, and liabilities this year, as the law requires. He said, quote, "That's our concern. A number of them haven't done this to this point, and so I don't know the reason. You know, we sent out all the documents on time and reminders, so that's where the delinquencies lie amongst these senior government officers." He cannot say for certain whether any elected officials failed to follow the law.
Why you can't say that? Why you can't say that? Boy. Say the words.
He said he has finally sent a letter to Prime Minister Philip Davis and Opposition Leader Michael Pintard with names of people who did not comply with the law. Only the Prime Minister or leader of the opposition could table the list in Parliament or forward it to the Office of the Attorney General for potential prosecution. Bishop Cooper said that in June he said in June that he was going to notify the Prime Minister and Pintard about the delinquencies. However, yesterday he said he did not do so until recently.
Also, he is late too.
In addition to a $10,000 fine, those guilty of breaking the law could serve 2 years in prison.
Never happened.
Last year, some first-time MPs said they were unaware that there was a legal requirement to file financial disclosures under the Public Disclosures Act.
Because they don't read newspaper and they don't have a radio.
Right. They've never, ever
They never paid attention to politics before they got in.
Before the day someone said, "You want to run?" Yeah. Asked yesterday about the level of compliance this year compared to 2022, Bishop Cooper said that it has been better this year. The Bahamas does not have a robust system surrounding public disclosures. In its annual human rights report, the United States repeatedly noted that no independent verification of the information public officers officials submit exists. Bishop Cooper has said the commission wants to modernize the public disclosure filing process.
You want to know the solution to this, Dwight?
When do they want to do that?
You want to know what the solution to this is?
Throw everybody in jail.
No, that's not the solution. The jail too big. They'd all be out the next day on work release, working at a gas station. The way that you fix this is the same people who go after poor people for money need to go after the rich people for money. Because inland revenue will block up everything for you if you don't give them their money. NIB, when I was just fresh out of college, ran me down. I tell them, I say, poor, I can't afford the $600 y'all say I owe y'all over these years. They say, what are you talking about? Bring our money. And it wasn't like I was talking to the person on the floor. I went up several levels, and it's like, yeah, there's no break. If you're indigent, we don't care if you make less than $10,000 a year. Bring our money. So those same Negroes, and now I'm using the language now, right?
Look,
need to go
sunk too,
and go after these same rich cats who can't declare, because if they could get money out of a rock, I sure they could get declarations out of an idiot. So it's like that's who needs to go after these people. And also the second solution is your email is Dwight@NASCAR.com, right?
Yes.
Feel free to leak the report to Dwight, right? If y'all can't release the names, Dwight will release the names. He won't say who sent it to him, but I'm sure that between the guy who talked to the newspaper and the people in the AG office, it's at least 30 people. One of y'all, Dwight@NASCAR.com. I'll say gmail.com. At NASCAR.com. Feel free to
And if you have a problem with me, newsroom at
No,
NASCAR.
that's too many people.
What? That's fine.
No, because then their name will be on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
It gotta be
Okay.
It gotta be sent directly to a person, either Dwight or Ken Diaz.
Yeah, but also, why is the bishop not talking? What were you doing? Did
No,
they
no,
swear?
listen.
Were you sworn to secrecy?
He probably
He's
was
supposed to be
leak it.
Yeah,
leak it.
The
Listen
Public
to me.
Disclosure Commission. He
Dwight-
was sworn to secrecy.
Yes, to not us. They swear to the king.
So this is why we don't want our clergymen mixed up in politics, because now you seem like all the bad words, right, Bishop? Right? Don't get yourself mixed up in foolishness if you are men and women of the cloth, because now you look like trash.
That's true.
Don't do it.
Or leak the document. Dwight at NASCAR.com.
Let's go to break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Yes, we feeling sexy and we ready for jumping news.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Bahamas Games? What was the purpose of the games?
The purpose is twofold. One, to bring Bahamians from throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas together through sports. And the second, to find talented athletes throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to be trained and possibly make it to the Olympic level.
When the games is?
This July 7th to the 15th.
For more info, call 322-1029.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan. Island game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan. Dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan. Island game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan. From the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
There's a new electric vehicle in town, the Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
Shopping is so rewarding with my Fidelity credit card. I get the best prices with price protection. Earn and redeem freedom points at my favorite stores. Get cash back. Plus, I booked a cruise. Get your Fidelity credit card today. Call 356-7764.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, Visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Introducing Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger. Chimichurri. That's how you pronounce it. Let it roll off your tongue. Then get ready for some ridiculously good flavor. Fresh, herby, garlicky, green, chimichurri. It'll feel like a relaxing backyard get-together with friends on a Sunday. But in a burger. Come meet Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger with our new Dave's Craft Lemonade. Wendy's, different inside and out.
It's back, the 35th annual Jeff Rogers Basketball Camp, July 17th through 28th, inside Kendall Isaacs Gym, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for boys and girls 5 through 18. Sign up your child now at South Bahamas Seventh-day Adventist Office, Tonic Williams Highway, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's the Jeff Rogers Basketball Camp, July 17th through 28th at Kendall Isaacs Gym, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Special appearances by NBA stars, legends, and coaches. The 35th annual Jeff Rogers Basketball Camp, it's back.
Summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, or prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
They call me Pop Cake. I'm in a poor state, yet I stay on guard. I protect their yard, they hardly feed me. Sometimes I'm so thirsty. They say I ain't got no pedigree. They don't love me, they only know me when they need me. They don't love me, they only know me when they need me. They tie me out in the burning sun. If I'm lucky, I break away and run. You should see them. Oh, how they grin as I look for food, tipping over garbage bins. They don't love me, they only know me when they need me. They don't love me, they only know me when they need me. As a puppy, they cuddle me, now I'm grown. They leave me on my own. I roam the streets at night, encountering lots of fights. It's no fun when you're on the run. They don't love me, they only know me when they need me. I tell you, they don't love me, they only know me when they need me. I wonder why they won't take better care of me. Why do they treat the other breeds better than me? 'Cause they don't love me, they only know me.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna, and it's time for a monthly segment with the Bahamas Humane Society. We've got with us in studio Kim Arana and Percy Grant. Welcome back to you. Good to see you all.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, this morning we're going to be talking about Operation Potcake, Op 24. So we're going to get to that in a bit. Before we do, I just want to talk about this weather. Human adults, human children, everybody, we're struggling with the heat, the high temperatures, the sun. How are our four-legged creatures, our friends, how are they managing in this? And what are some of the tips you can give?
I mean,
folks with their
as an
pets?
owner, my dogs manage fine because they don't leave the air conditioning. They literally go out, look at a bush, come back and say, "Thank you, Mummy. I'm not going out again for at least another 4 hours." I think that people who leave their dogs out all day have to be very, very careful. They must be sure that their animal has shade right the way through the day. The fact that when you leave in the morning they have shade doesn't necessarily mean that at noon or afternoon they will have shade. So you need to identify, and it may not be the same place. Your dog is smart enough to know that he can move from one spot to another to be shady, but it is essential that there's areas where he'll have shade all day long. And the other thing that people do not think of is that they leave the water bowl just anywhere. Yeah. And by leaving that water bowl anywhere, they're actually be serving their dog up boiling water because the water bowls aren't very big and the water gets hot very quickly. Test it yourself. Yeah. So that is another thing, that the water must always be fresh every day. Pour the old water out, water the plants because they need water too at the moment. Fill it up with fresh water and make sure that that water is always in the shade, that it never is in the sun at the moment. And then the third thing is those lovely people who go jogging with their dogs. I watch them in my community, and they're running along the road, and they're happy, and they're wearing shoes, and they don't know how hot the ground is. Their dog is not wearing shoes. And no, funnily enough, dogs won't stop and say, "Mummy, it's too hot, I don't want to run anymore." And they are in pain, and they will be blistered, and then it can it can get infected, and your dog can end up losing a leg. So those are my 3 tips. I'm sure that Percy has other things to discuss what happens when your dog gets heat stroke, what you should do.
You should douse them in water immediately or put them under a hose and do that for a long time until their temperature gets back down. Well, you would know because, true, normal temperature is 101. If you see it goes up to 103, 105.
But they flop too. I mean, when a dog, like a human, they sort of go floppy.
They go very panting and all that kind of thing, so you know they're going into heat stroke. Plus, you know the water content that you left. Was it filled up and all that? But you have to take the bull by the horn. We've had many heat strokes come into the Humane Society. We have had to just put them straight into the bathtub.
This year?
No, last summer. Okay. Last summer, and this is another summer coming up. And we're gonna have it. Yeah. And people are gonna bring the dogs in on near death, and we have to run them in the bathtub and just hose them down. People don't think, when they're leaving the house, like Kim is saying, and they don't think about water for the animals. Recently, we put out a plea for extra buckets, and we had CBS come to our aid, as well as Pet Heaven, who gave us buckets, ample supply of buckets, that we could have extra bucket of water around for the dogs. You got some dogs that, throw over water, so you don't need to put down a cut-off gallon bottle, which is sort of crazy. You need to put a bucket, a cut-off bucket, or even a smaller, some tin bucket with it. We've even asked for paddle pools, and so we have paddle pools at the Humane. We put water in the paddle pools.
But those mustn't be left in the sun either.
No.
I have a grandson, and I have a paddle pool, and I left the pool out because I didn't want to waste water, and I knew he was coming back the next day. And he didn't come back the next day, so it was in the sun all day long. Yeah. And I put my hand in it, and it was hotter than bath water. It was hot.
It could be hot, yeah.
So people really... And it's a question of not thinking. But the fact that your animal means so little to you that you don't think is actually kind of a scary situation. But one thing I do believe is that if they have a heat stroke, it's very important to get water on their necks and their groin area.
Yeah.
The tummy, groin area.
Yeah.
That those are 2 points that
Yeah.
that need
And this is-
that will help cool them
Yeah.
down. I noticed because I was at a dog show once,
Yeah.
and a pit bull just flopped out in his cage. They had him in his
Yeah,
cage.
that's a heat box.
And
I've seen it.
of course, that is a total heat box.
Yeah.
And the vets got him out, and the first thing they did was apply ice packs
Yeah.
to those two areas of his
Yeah,
body.
yeah.
So, and dogs can die from it just as
Oh,
people
yeah,
can.
I've been
So
seeing dogs die from heat stroke a lot.
So, I mean, there are several questions, right? So, like, because I know sometimes dogs will knock over their water, like when you leave dogs with water outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that could that possibly be like them trying to wet themselves or get in the water? Or is it just, or they just being
sometimes it's just play.
Yeah, sometimes it's just play.
I had a dog who used to like to dig in her water
We
bowl.
have that at the
So
humane.
annoying.
No, I know, because I mean, like, I know, like, with different animals, like, people think, for example, they think pigs are dirty because they'll roll around in their poop, but pigs don't sweat, and so to stay,
Pigs are dirty because we let them be dirty.
they're dirty because they don't have access to water.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If they have access to water, pigs won't roll around in mud. They roll around in whatever is wet to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
dissipate the heat.
Right,
And so I was just
right,
asking
right,
if dogs, it could be the same way. Now, the other question is there a way to treat the water? Because I know some people are concerned about leaving around too much water and mosquitoes and things like that. Is there something that
I think the best treatment is change it every day.
Changing Just every day. constantly
Change
change
it
it,
and then
change
use
it, yeah.
what I mean. You don't have to waste. You don't have to. I mean, take that water, and you must. If you don't have any garden or green stuff, then you live a sad life. That because
So-
you
so
should
also
always
that
have
time.
green stuff in your area, even if you live in an apartment. Take that water and water the plant or water. And if you live in an apartment and you don't have anything, well, then take it and water something outside the front door. There's always a
Flush the
plant
toilet.
that needs water.
Right. Okay. And then, so, I mean, the other thing is, I guess, well, I mean, for Dwight, because I know Dwight always during the weather report will say, the heat indices, whatever. Make sure that you stay hydrated, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
that's
I'm
important.
guessing that. Not guessing. I don't know why I'm saying it like a question.
Yeah.
Perhaps Dwight should also include, because I feel like there's not enough. Is not enough visibility of person saying, "Oh, don't forget to leave water for your animals."
Yeah.
I think Dwight really should say that.
Oh, yeah?
Ooh, sorry.
So-
I think that would be a great
Make sure
addition.
you and your pets are hydrated.
Both.
Yeah, make sure that your pet, 101, make sure your pet has access to clean, fresh water at all times and never leave that water where there could be sun.
Yeah. And those of us who have dogs that are not really for the tropics, example, the chows or Malamutes or those dogs like that, who should have
With
ice
lots of
water.
hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of hair. They should have ice water. You should be freezing water in the night.
And the
just
dogs
put it-
like the ice,
Just leave
right?
the ice in the water, let it melt down.
But there is a second group of thought that hair insulates them, isn't there?
Yeah, true.
The thick fur.
The thick
I
fur.
had two very, very thick furred dogs that I brought over from Switzerland. They were Bernese mountain dogs, and I did not shave them because I was told don't. That actually helps insulate them from the heat.
Yeah.
Now, one of them used to get into the swimming pool and she would float around like a rag doll. I mean, people didn't realize she was real. She would
Yeah.
spend hours in there. And that was her way of staying
Right.
cool. So paddling pools are the plastic ones, obviously. You can't buy
Yeah.
the inflatables because their claws will.
Yeah.
But we buy them, and dogs will lie in that to cool off.
What I usually recommend to friends that have dogs with hair, a lot of hair is to get a yard of sand, a sandbox, and just keep it wet. And the dogs bury themselves in the sand. And and it's so good for their fur, because I know there's a child that I knew who was having issues with skin, and my friend did that. And now you should see the dog. I mean, the dog looks as if, beautiful.
Wow.
Absolutely beautiful.
Okay, interesting.
Well, that's why potcakes dig holes under bushes.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's not because they're annoying. That is their natural preservation.
Yeah.
And so I used to have 5 dogs. I right now only have 2. But each one was allowed one bush they could dig under. And they weren't allowed other bushes. And let me tell you, they understood. If you talk to them sensibly and you're patient, they get it.
Yeah.
But each one had a bush that they could dig under, because If they were, this was when they were younger and they wanted to be outside more, they had to find the cool that they were seeking.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
a portrait thing.
So there are a lot of people who like to dress their dogs and cats in clothes. I can
No,
imagine
that's
this would be the worst time to be doing that,
I
right?
do not understand why
happen, period,
anybody
really.
wants to dress a dog in clothes. If you want to dress something in clothes, dress a baby.
Yeah, but then you'd have to have a baby. That's
Well, then find a niece, find a nephew,
Yeah,
find a friend's
yeah, yeah.
child. But some of, I mean, I'm sorry, and I know out there are lots of people who are going to be really angry with me now, but it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous.
And especially now, this heat is
And now
crazy.
it's an absolute no-no.
Yeah.
Not even a bikini. No,
Yeah.
out of the
Right.
question.
Wow.
Zero.
Okay.
What about dog shoes?
Right, with the asphalt that
I know
If
cats
you
hate
can
'em.
get them
I
to
don't-
wear
If
it,
you can get
I
them, yeah.
mean, if you want to have a laugh, go on to YouTube and Google or put in dogs wearing booties.
Yeah, they hate it.
And the way they wore
walk,
it's
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
They hate them.
Because they think something's wrong with their feet.
Yeah,
They're
they
like,
do,
my
yeah.
feet isn't doing
I
the
mean,
right
I
thing.
try to put my dog in
they do.
socks, gripping socks, because he has trouble getting up on the tiles and his paws. And my friend gave me a pair of socks, four socks, and they had the grip soles. He wouldn't wear them. I'd put them on and I'd turn around and he'd taken all four off.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It's hard to get them to wear that.
All right, so those are some great tips, folks. Right, you have to be mindful about your pets as well during this heat. All right, we're going to break for news. When we come back, we'll get into Op24, Operation Potcake, all the details about that with Kim and Percy from the Humane Society. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
They call me pop cake. I'm in a poor state, yet I stay on guard. I protect their yard. They hardly feed me. Sometimes I'm so thirsty. They say I ain't got no pedigree. They don't love me. They only know me when they need me.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, July 14th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna, and we are talking with the Bahamas Humane Society. We've got Kim Arana and Percy Grant with us this morning. We're going to be talking about Operation Potcake, Op24. Yep. All right, so give us the background history, Operation Potcake. How many years have we been doing this now?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't been doing it every year, and if we were, we wouldn't need to be doing it this year. But Operation Potcake was born when I went to a convention in Puerto Rico and met a lady called Emma Clifford, who was the CEO of a non-profit organization called Animal Balance. And Animal Balance's objective was to help organize massive, and I mean massive, spay and neuter clinics on island nations. And the reason they only do island nations is because it's finite. It can be contained. And anyway, we met in Puerto Rico. I came home. We realized it's raining cats and dogs. And so this was in 2012. And in 2013, we had our first Operation Potcake, where over 100 volunteers flew in, along with local volunteers. We were probably about 250 strong. We created 5 clinics across the island of New Providence, and we worked for 10 days. And we spayed approximately 3,000, spayed and neutered 3,500 animals. The difference the following year was enormous, the quantity of puppies and kittens that came into the shelter. For various reasons that I'm not going to go into, the following year it became impossible. We couldn't have it, and the atmosphere was such that we ended up doing small local spay and neuters with only the amount of volunteers that geographically we could produce from New Providence. And though it has been ongoing, and though BARC has stepped in with their spay and neuter clinic and are doing a great job, it's just not enough to make that initial difference. So in 2024, January the 17th to the 27th, we will be hosting another massive spay and neuter program. It will be an alliance between the Bahamas Humane Society, BARC, and Animal Balance, who will be coming back. We will have 4 clinics for 8 days, and we hope to spay and neuter approximately 3,400 animals. And today, I really want people to help me identify places that we could use as a headquarters. We need somewhere on Kemp Road. We did use the church, but at the moment they don't seem to want us to use that again. We need a large area that has electricity and water. And no, we're not really going to pay you. I'm sorry. This is a civic duty to our nation. We leave it far cleaner than we ever found it, and we're very responsible. But we do need help identifying places that we can use for free. So if anybody's out there and they say, oh, I've got an empty garage, I've got an empty warehouse, please let us know.
You only need one spot?
Does it need to be on campus?
You said Carmichael's
close?
Close would be fine. Close is fine. It doesn't.
Schools that are closed presently, and then
But schools won't be closed in January. That's so we see. We have to do it in January. We can't do it now. Look at the heat. It would be impossible. We can't do it in early autumn because of the risk of hurricane. Then you can't do it over Christmas because Junkanoo and and then because we are going to be asking hotels to donate rooms, we have to do it at a low tourism moment. And after Christmas and before February, there's a definite tourist lull. And so that is a good time to ask local businesses to step in and accommodate our volunteers.
So not just Kemp Road, you need other spots.
We would like to. We're planning to have
Carmichael as well.
Carmichael Road. We really need to be Kemp Road. We need areas that deal with East Street too, because East Street has a lot of dogs. We need to look at the Carmichael area. The 4th clinic is a little bit up for grabs, and I chair the committee, and actually the very knowledgeable people from BARC are going to be identifying the hot spots, because with their mobile clinic, of course, they go into all the areas, so they will know where the most roaming and stray dogs. And let's get this right. These are not stray dogs that we're really talking about. Many of them are owned by people who don't bother to keep them inside the gates. So but we're hoping that people will come forward, that they'll want to bring us their dogs. It will be free. Their nails will be clipped. They will be, cleaned up. Their eyes will be checked. They'll get their vaccinations. I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity to start being a responsible owner. There will be people there that can give advice. They did a count recently. Bark did a count. We think that there are approximately 80,000 dogs on the island of New Providence. We believe that only 20,000 of those are actual strays. The other 60,000 go between the owned category and the wishy-washy roaming category. And roaming means that if I pick up a dog and say I'm going to take it away, 5 families leap up and say, don't take that dog away, he's ours. If I pick up that dog and say...
The whole neighborhood feeds
Right, but if I pick up that dog and say, the owner needs to give me $50 for this dog, nobody owns it. That's a roaming dog. Okay, that's your definition of the roaming dog.
Wow.
So they need to be fixed.
Yeah. So is it my imagination that in the last year, we're seeing more and more of these types of dogs?
You are, which is why Operation Pot Cake. I woke up a few months ago and thought, it's raining cats and dogs. There is no other solution than to come back to Operation Pot Cake 24, 25, and 26.
My
Now,
goodness.
25 and 26 may not have to be as big. We will still have to bring in volunteers. We will still need the nation and the government to step up and assist because the normal street life of a total stray dog is 3 years. It's
Wow.
not very long. They either die of heartworm or tick fever or parvo or distemper or get run over or some person poisons them, which incidentally is a cruelty and is an offense and is illegal, and you can be fined or jailed. But they have a 3-year lifespan. So if we can keep it going through that 3-year lifespan and at the same time educate everybody that spaying and neutering is the answer, we could in 5 years we would not have a roaming dog problem.
So I have a question. So for example, South Beach, all right? There's I wouldn't say prolific, but there's a significant dog population, roaming dog population inside South Beach, right? They live on the beach. Persons come and they feed them. I meant on the beach itself. Yeah. Right? Like if you go there right now, the dogs are on the beach, and sometimes they'll get food from when people go there to eat their lunch. They throw the bones out, the dogs eat it. Incidentally, those dogs don't turn over garbages. All right? Like, because they're like, why are you turning it over? We know people coming to feed us.
Exactly.
Like, with those animals, like, would you guys go to like an area like that?
Yes.
Capture those dogs?
Oh yeah.
But we re-release them.
Now the question
TNR.
is, how long? Because these dogs also they do a lot of swimming, and they like how long before they'd be okay? Like what's the? What
do you mean?
Oh, they'll be fine. We
fine.
literally we take the stitches that we use and everything. We trap them.
And in 4 days,
we take at Operation Potcake they were re-released.
Immediate.
They're released immediately.
Well, that's true.
And it's not a problem.
Yeah.
We use a type of super glue on the outer stitch. That doesn't mean that you guys can go and use super glue on your dogs. Please let's take that the wrong way. The animals and you're not the first person to have reported that South Beach
I ain't no snitch.
Issue, and we plan to pick them up, fix them, and re-release them. So they will still be there. They will be happy puppies. They will still appreciate the food. They just won't reproduce.
No, the other question is, and honestly, I question if some of them aren't already fixed because I've been watching them.
Some of them are,
and they don't. The ones that come there, like the new ones, seem to be like, oh, this is an abandoned dog that's made its way here
Well, some of them may have. Normally, the tip of the ear would either have a little chink in it, or maybe a tattoo on the tummy. But the tattoos on the tummy are harder to see, and the males, you should be able to work that out for yourself.
I don't roll the dogs over. I don't.
I was gonna. But from the boys, you can just see it. Okay, I'm not. I'm a lady. I'm not going to go into that, but you can see it.
So, do you guys tag? Do you guys keep records of or tag the dogs in any way? You said that there's a clip
a little chink out of their ear.
It's a clip, yeah.
A clip.
But so you guys don't put a subcutaneous.
With 3,400 dogs in 8 days, there's not the time.
Yeah. But that is a service that is offered locally, though.
Yes. We do.
You can chip your dogs, and actually, I was at a meeting with government, and they are looking very seriously into making it mandatory for all owned dogs to be chipped. But then we get into that wishy-washy area about the roaming dogs. As I said before, 16 people own it when something good's going to happen, and nobody owns it when you have to actually make the effort to take it in and get it chipped. Chips are not cheap. What is a chip? $25?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, that's cheaper than I thought it was going to be.
And then there is also, they're making great headways in non-operational sterilization, which would be unbelievable. That
birth control for dogs.
Yeah, and they are making headway in that, and we are on top of watching that, because if you could just give a dog a shot and render them sterile, it would be amazing. Yeah. But they can do it already with males, but it's actually almost more complicated than castrating him.
Wow. Yeah.
So, for those gentlemen who have very definite feelings about their dogs being castrated, non-operable operational sterilization will become available as science moves forward.
So what is that, like a vasectomy almost? I mean,
no, it's all an injection. I think it's chemical.
Injection.
Yeah.
They were trying to do it
but all the parts would remain there.
Yes, but you have to keep the animal quiet and isolated for something like 4 days, and if you're trying to do 1,000 dogs, that's not going to work.
All right. So with the increase in dogs we're seeing, like yesterday, walking into our parking lot, just 5 dogs just right there laying out, and this is happening a lot, especially when it rains. You see large groups of them congregating. What happens in those situations? Do people call? Should people call? What should be done with
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be up and running. Don't call me now.
Yeah, we can't accommodate anything now.
We do have an email address for volunteers, which is operationpotcake242 at gmail.com. Yeah. Don't call me. We have it's set up. We actually have to get a telephone, but right now, that email address is operable. We have an administrative director who's taking care of all the calls, all the applications. If you want to volunteer, you email her. She will send out a form that you can fill in as to what kind of volunteering you want to do, whether it's organizing breakfasts for one clinic, whether it's lunches for a clinic, whether you're going to take the responsibility of one clinic for 4 days and get friends together to organize lunches or breakfast, or pick up the coffee from hopefully one of these wonderful places that will donate us coffee. We haven't got to that yet either. We're going to need people to help pick people up at the airport. We're going to need runners. If one of the shelter, one of the clinics suddenly needs, I don't know, paper towels. We need somebody to jump in a car, go down and pick up paper towels. We will need paper towels, incidentally. We're going to be looking for cases of paper towels. We're going to be looking for duct tape, because we put a little piece of duct tape on the forehead of the dog and a number so that they are recognizable. It comes off afterwards. We are going to need Sharpie pens. We're going to need newspapers. Start collecting them now. Containers to put water in, containers to put food in. The list is ever ending, and it will all be published gradually. But there are schools and service groups that can get together and say, okay, you can sponsor a clinic for a day or for a week or for the whole time. The choices are out there, and we're really hoping that there will be a national excitement. And I know that it's only the island of New Providence, but if we can really get this going properly, and we do have the support of the government right now, if we can keep that excitement going, we could gradually do all the islands. And it is essential. It's essential for the animals, but it's essential for the humans too. It promotes a healthier lifestyle. Dogs are wonderful, but they need to be in their place. They shouldn't be running wild any more than kids should be running wild, or pigs or horses, or nobody should be running wild. And we need to get control of the situation.
I mean, define wild, but I was going to ask, have there been any? Because you guys have been dealing with animals, particularly potcakes, for a while, right? And have you guys noticed any difference in their behavior over the years? Because it feels like the potcakes are developing. I don't want to say.
I'm going to let Percy answer that question.
It's not that I think that they're suddenly sentient. I'm certain that they've always been sentient to some. Well, they've been sentient, right? But like, I've noticed dogs waiting on crosswalks. All right, more and more.
They're smart, aren't they?
Right, and I'm noticing, like, even when they get together as groups, like the dogs that bark and randomly run after people tend not to be the roaming dogs. Tend to be dogs that are in somebody's yard and they were trained to bark at people. But all the other dogs, I've noticed a lot of dogs, they'll look at you and like they'll watch you and they'll see how you, and then they'll just lay back down.
Exactly. You run away, they'll chase you.
Right.
Yeah. And then we're having a lot of mixing now. We're having multi-genetic dogs now. It's not anymore potcakes per se.
Oh, because they don't have the Ridgeback?
Yeah, everything is.
Some of these Ridgeback potcakes are hilarious.
They're really mixed.
Yeah, but I mean, but generally speaking, like, have you noticed the change in behavior from, like, let's say from the 90s to now? Or?
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of change. I think animals are now being street smart. They learn, they pick up, and they just like how when they in the house and people could teach them to sit and stay, they're now learning how to, and then you find out so many people now are into trying to train and trying to develop their dogs to make them do this, to do that. Dogs, when they go out there, they now, I think they tell each other, because it's a total change, and I agree with you.
Wow.
They don't get knocked down as much as I remember one time many years ago, I took a friend of the Humane Society around, and he came, he said, Percy, how come every time I go through a corner there's a dog limping? He said, this is Limp City, but you don't see that anymore.
Yeah, not as much.
Not as much.
Only time I see dogs even like running the road is like a dog that I could see this dog has been traumatized.
Yeah.
And so like it's afraid of human beings.
Yeah.
But other than that,
they do appear to be looking left and right.
Yeah.
And we need to get them to teach the people
to
do that. All right. We're talking with Kim Arana and Percy Grant with the Bahamas Humane Society. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. We know at various points we've had issues with cats as well. How's that looking? Are we overrun with cats now, or is that stabilized a bit?
No, cats aren't stabilizing either. The thing is, cats seem to be able to take care of themselves a bit better than dogs. And so the problem isn't quite as in your face. But yes, there are too many cats out there, and they are going to be spayed and neutered too during Operation Potcake. In fact, Bark is going to be doing exclusively cats during the 8 days. Even though Bark volunteers will also be working with the dogs, but their van will be there doing cats. Okay. The thing is that if we're surrounded by a population who see absolutely no reason why their animal shouldn't have puppies or kittens.
Yeah,
in fact, some of them almost feel like it's a necessity. But unfortunately, they then pick up the female. If we're lucky, they pick up the female and her babies and dump them on our doorstep. If we're not lucky, they just pick up the babies, who are sometimes so small they don't have their eyes open. They dump them on our doorstep and they walk away. They keep the female, who can still reproduce. They wash their hands of it. Now, and this isn't Operation Potcake, but it has to be said. If you are inattentive enough to allow your dog or cat to have kittens or puppies, you cannot take those babies away from the mother until they are at least 6 to 8 weeks old, and they should actually be 3 months old. Now, the reason for this is that the mother knows how to take care of them. Nobody can take care of the babies like the mother. And I think we all agree that it is exactly the same as it is with humans. If your wife has a baby, nobody grabs her child and takes it away at 3 days old. Your wife, for the first few months, you don't even send it to daycare. She gets maternity leave, and she's with that child basically 24 hours a day, and she feeds that child, and that child has a healthy and proper entry into life, knowing about love, not about aggression, and care. It is exactly the same with animals. So don't take the babies away from the mother. If you insist on having them, then take the responsibility to keep them until they are old enough. Otherwise, for goodness sake, bring your pets in to the Humane Society, BARC, or Operation Potcake 24, get them fixed, and then the lecture is over.
No. Okay. This text here says, my wife and I adopted our dog from the Humane Society 6 years ago, and we love her to death. We're so grateful for the adoption program that they have in place. I hope it continues to thrive.
Well, thank you. Please tell your friends.
Thank you.
And if you want to join the dog walking program, we need people to walk our adoption dogs who are cooped up in runs all day long. And on Wednesday and Saturdays, there are dog walks. And I can't tell you what a treat it is for those animals to go out and have a nice outing and some love and affection. And you'll be helping groom a dog into being a better pet for the next person. But thank you for adopting.
Wow. This person is suggesting you try the Corner Motel or Hotel on Carmichael. They have space and parking. It's been closed for years. And try that. That's true. Yeah? That's good.
Okay.
You need to find out who. Yeah.
They're saying the Maynard family.
If that person happened to knows who owns it,
the Maynard.
I'd be very happy if they'd message us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
thank you for the advice.
Pretty good location there. Yeah.
That's a good spot.
Yeah. All right. So it's still a few months ago, but you said it already. You need a lot of things. Let's talk about that one more time. Some of the things that people can do right now to help you to get Operation Potcake 24, Op 24, up and running for January.
Okay. Apart from money, obviously, money. We need people to if they feel that they can help us. As I say, the volunteers, all volunteers, Bahamian and international, will be provided with coffee in the morning, and we're hoping to reach out to one or two of the businesses that have big coffee urns and that they could supply us. In fact, I'll make the shout out that last time we did this, Starbucks provided the coffee, and hint. We then need people to help us provide snacks and lunch. So the snacks, Dunkin' Donuts was very generous last time, so we're hoping that we'll have a repeat performance there. But we're going to have probably 30 or 40 people at each clinic, 4 days, 2 days off, 4 days. And then they need lunches. And it can be people who want to just donate the money, or people who say, okay, I'm going to go and get pizzas for everybody, or people who say, okay, I can make sandwiches. But we need plenty of volunteers on that. We need people who will be willing to drive around in their cars, to be gophers, people pick up, drop off, and then items we are going to need. And I don't have the complete list, but it's going to be things like paper towels, Sharpie pens, duct tape, newspapers, pea pads, water and food containers for each cage, leashes, collars. We'll need donations. It would be great if people would donate us NexGuard for flea and tick, and many more things. And this, if you're interested, and you email operationpotcake242@gmail.com, get yourself on the list. If you're a teacher and you say, I'd like to make that a class project, reach out to us. We haven't totally formalized everything, but please put your name down. Say grade 7 at so-and-so school, we want to help. And then we can work out together how best you can do it. But I must tell you one thing, children will not be allowed in the clinic. Nobody under 18 will be allowed in the clinic. We're thinking of having educational tents outside. But the reason for that is not because we're meanies, but there's, just to start with, a lot of sharp objects. There are syringes. There are scalpels. There's, needles to do the stitching. The dogs, some of these dogs may have any disease. We don't know what disease they have. We pick them up off the street. We bring them in. We assess them that we feel they're well enough for surgery. We are not finding out if they have they will have fleas and ticks. Some of them will have heartworms, some of them won't. So it's not appropriate for children to come in there. But children can get involved. And I'm really thinking about trying to see if we can have a little poster competition or something. So please, teachers, service clubs, and individuals, reach out to us.
Yeah, this message, similar, we need to start teaching children from the primary school level in schools how to value pets and other animals. This will solve a lot of the problems.
We do. We have an educational program, and Percy Grant goes into as many schools as he can. If you want to identify somewhere that your child is at school and you feel that they would be well accepted, please phone our shelter manager, Percy Grant, who's also our chief inspector. He'd be happy to go in. And he's good at it.
Yeah. This text here, I've always wanted a dog, not a pit bull, but not a pot cake. Can you ask if they have different types of dogs, other types of dogs?
We have different types of crossbreeds, but I'd love to have a one-on-one to know why you don't want a pot cake and whether you have this stereotype image of the pathetic dog standing on the side of the road. If you look at, I probably shouldn't say this because it's the other newspaper, but if you look at the picture in the Tribune today, in my article in the supplement, you'll see a bunch of potcakes who were invited to parade at the Bahama Games, and they are beautiful, beautiful dogs. So I'd be happy. If you want to contact me. Dwight can tell you how to contact me. I'd love to know why you don't want a pot cake, and maybe we can walk you through, and you can come and look at the dogs we have and how beautiful they are, and you just might change your mind.
Yeah, they can be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful animals.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I guess you're going to be dealing with this over the next few months. Any final tips for folks out there with their dogs and their cats right now?
Love your animal. Make it part of your family. It's nothing wrong. Real men hug their dogs. There's nothing wrong with loving an animal. Animals are not dirty. If your dog is dirty, look at yourself. Because when you point a finger, 3 fingers point back at yourself. Love your dog like a member of the family. And please, guys, there's no more need to breed anything for a while. In the Bahamas, let's get our animals spayed and neutered. Let us help you.
Yeah.
And if you need advice, the Humane Society is there for advice. We're not just there to get criticized later. We're there for you to call. If you put it, incidentally, on a Facebook chat group, you may not get instant replies because we don't spend our entire day looking at Facebook. If it's an emergency, use the telephone.
Yeah, all right. And you said it. We don't need to be breeding anymore, but there are ads in the paper every day for dogs
makes me sick.
And puppies.
I will make a public plea to both papers. Stop advertising puppies for sale, please.
Oh boy! Wow. Okay, we didn't even talk about the horses during the summer. We were
I'll
talking
come
about that
back.
off air. Yeah. Okay. Thank you both so much, Kim Arana, Percy Grant. We'll see you guys next month.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. All right, we're going to be back after the break. This is Morning Glen Business on a Friday morning on Guardian Radio 96.9.
But seriously, if the
They call me Pop Cake.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bs.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
Summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, a prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
Are you dreaming of the perfect summer getaway? Apply for a debt consolidation or personal loan to win an airline ticket to Paris, Miami, or New York. Win up to $2,500 in cash and more. For details, call 356-7764 for Nassau, 602-6811 for Freeport, 823-4374 for Abaco.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And it's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. In its latest Consumer Price Index report, the Bahamas National Statistical Institute revealing that in April, the inflation rate in the country surpassed what it was in October 2022 when the CPI peaked at 120.07. The inflation rate increased by 0.6% in April when compared to March 2023, driving the CPI to 120.58. In other news, noting that the widespread power outages experienced by BPL affecting consumers across multiple islands in recent months can have negative impacts on the Bahamian economy. ERCA announcing that it is investigating the outages. It said that as the regulator for the electricity sector, ERCA is concerned about the adverse effects the power outages have on national economic development and residential and commercial consumers in particular. It said that in the last 2 months alone, significant outages have occurred in Abaco, Acklands, North Andros, Cat Island, Exuma, Mayaguana, and New Providence. After receiving final regulatory approval from the central bank, on April 21st to purchase a minority stake in Bahamian Brewery and Beverage Company Limited. Trinidad and Tobago conglomerate ANSA Michael has announced the completion of its acquisition of shares in the Bahamian-owned company. In a communication dated Wednesday, July 12th on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange website, ANSA Macau stated that they are confirming that they do have a stake now with effect from the 7th of July and completed the acquisition of a minority interest in the issued and allotted ordinary share capital of Bahamian Brewery, and that the shareholders of the company entered into a shareholders agreement with ANSA Macau, consenting to the acquisition pursuant to the share purchase agreement executed on the 14th of November 2022. Bahamian Brewery declined to provide a response on the matter when contacted by Guardian Business, though. But one of Trinidad and Tobago's largest publicly traded conglomerates, ANSA Macau, is the parent company of Carib Brewery. Read more on this in today's Guardian Business section. American Airlines has added Governor's Harbor Eleuthera to its route network for the upcoming winter season. Starting February 3rd, 2024, AA will have flights from Miami International Airport to Governor's Harbor twice weekly on Tuesdays and Saturdays, making it the only U.S. carrier flying nonstop from MIA to Governor's Harbor. With more than a 30-year history at Miami International Airport, American said it's proud to serve as the hometown airline there. You can read more on that in today's Guardian Business section. And 4 Bahamian Islands voted among Travel and Leisure's readers' 25 favorite islands in the Caribbean, Bermuda and the Bahamas, with Eleuthera placing in the top 5. The results are part of Travel and Leisure's annual World's Best Awards. Eleuthera came in 4th with 88.30 points. Other Bahamian Islands featured on the list: Harbor Island, which was 12th on the list, the Exumas, 13th, and New Providence, which was 16th. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market movers: Commonwealth Bank moving 6,000 shares, closing at $3.59 unchanged. Consolidated Water down 5 cents, closing at $4.21. Emir Incorporated up 19 cents, closing at $9.90. And the BISX All Share Index closing at 2,555.76 unchanged. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Nassau is the capital, Bahamas. Bimini is the gateway, Bahamas. 1492, Columbus landed. 1973, we were free. From Nassau to Inawa, Bahamas. From Freeport to Mequona, Bahamas. Tourists love our country, Bahamas. 700 islands, Bahamas. Happy independence.
We are back with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Stephen Hanna. All right, so let's get into this story. IRCA investigating BPL power outages. Our Christelle Brown writing about it, noting that the widespread power outages experienced by BPL consumers across multiple islands in recent months can have a negative impact on the Bahamian economy. IRCA announced yesterday that it is investigating the outages. So it noted that in the past 2 months alone, there have been outages. This is pretty much everywhere, right? Acklands, Abaco, North Andros, Cat Island, Exuma, Mequona, and New Providence. IRCA noted that these outages resulted from a combination of generation and transmission failures, third-party damage, and weather. The statement said, quote, IRCA has requested and received outage reports for all of these instances. But in recent weeks, BPL has reported several power outages across this island, New Providence, with the higher than usual heat index. Is it higher than usual? I don't know if it's higher than usual. It's just been... Let's get your mic up there. It's been...
the hottest days on record, back to back to back.
Well,
that's international.
Right. Other parts of the world are saying that. We're not hearing that from our Department of Meteorology, but we know we don't normally go. It does feel like it's been hotter than usual.
Right. You like literally for a month straight, you've said
yes, it's
heat
been
indices has been
every day
feeling
for more
like
than a
triple
month.
digits.
But they still aren't telling us that we've hit records here.
That's
I
'cause we
wish
don't
they
keep good
would.
records.
Right. I wish they would tell us. It certainly feels like we've hit records, and the car thermometers are telling us something.
Hit
That's
records.
what you're thinking. You're feeling that.
No, right, sorry,
know
you're right.
that.
We haven't hit
We don't
records
know
because there are no records.
Now, I'm sure there are,
but we've
they
hit
are
heights.
telling us
We've
that
hit
we've
heights
that.
for sure.
It feels that way, and it's probably true. But we do need the department to step up and tell us. But anyway, but yes, higher than usual heat index. The New Providence residents have complained of unbearable conditions as a result. As relates to North Andros, up to yesterday, BPL was still trying to restore power to all of the residents after last week's fire. Yep. All right, so now, IRCA, this is what IRCA's saying after all this, because again, it's North Andros, all the other islands that you heard about. There's always something.
If somebody, family member, like dies of a heat stroke, are we allowed to sue the power company? I know it's like almost impossible to get them to pay for a television when they power surges blow it, right? But I'm saying, like,
was the person inside and the air conditioning was not working?
Yeah, it could be an old person. An old person who is inside isn't very
if
mobile.
there's a power outage,
Yeah.
and the person dies from heat stroke,
Right.
Well, good luck. This person said, so this is IRCA. IRCA says in a statement, quote, all things considered, IRCA is satisfied with BPL's short-term actions to address the outages. However, the quantity and nature of the outages paint a picture of a struggling utility unable to provide power of sufficient reliability and quality. This has negative impacts on the economy of the Bahamas and quality of life of its residents. IRCA is working with relevant stakeholders with the aim of ensuring suitable plans of action are in place to provide a more durable solution to these issues. Okay, interesting comments from IRCA. What do you make of that? What do you make of that? And that type of language there at the end, actually.
Durable.
IRCA is working with the relevant stakeholders with the aim of ensuring suitable plans of action are in place to provide a more durable solution to these issues.
Who are the stakeholders?
I mean, I don't know who they. Okay.
Who are the stakeholders?
Well, of course, the government and yes, BPL. But I mean that type. Okay, that's interesting language. Yeah.
Empty and void.
I mean, I don't think they could do anything. What can you do?
You mean who? IRCA?
Yeah,
BPL?
IRCA can't do.
BPL is also saying they can't do anything.
Well, yeah.
Everybody can't.
Everybody's hopeless and helpless in this situation.
I don't know what
So I don't understand. Certainly, the minister is not saying anything that makes us feel satisfied that things are going to get better.
Didn't he say they're going to start doing green energy inside Manchester? This is a perfect opportunity
They could
to
say that on the moon too. I mean, okay, when's that going to happen? But anyway, anybody satisfied? Anybody? Yeah, they're investigating. Okay.
Anytime
And
somebody
now
says
what?
they're investigating, you might
Right.
say, "Oh, so you don't care about me?"
We're back to all the things we talked about earlier in the show, right?
I don't want no
the many
investigations.
outstanding investigations.
I want results. Investigations mean nothing inside this country because everybody know who do what from day one. I do not believe that we are living inside an episode of Columbo where investigations move anything further than where it already started. And I believe where we live is a place where the immediate moment something happens, somebody on the side say, "Oh yeah, Ricky do that." And from there, it's just a matter of proving that Ricky did it. It is not, if you ain't know, then you ain't know. But I don't believe in investigations. I don't think it's a real thing in the Bahamas.
Well, in the Bahamas, investigations elsewhere, but
Perhaps.
but not here.
These dudes don't even dust for prints. I challenge somebody who's had a recent robbery of any sort to call in and tell us when you saw the
Well,
police
maybe
dust
they
for prints.
stopped because when they used to, it made no sense. I think I've told this story in the year before about the time someone tried to steal my car, my poor white car, and they dusted it for prints. And I'm like, well, first of all, you didn't take my prints. So what are you dusting for? And
The
you just
fact-
left my white car
the
covered
fact that
in
they-
black soot.
Right, 'cause
It
they
was
did it
ridiculous.
They did it
They have
incorrectly.
no idea what they're doing.
Right, and so here's the thing. Dwight, all of your prints are in the system. your prints are in the system, my prints are in the system because you have a passport and I have a passport.
Back then, I don't think it was.
No, but I'm saying now that the government
even
actually
look
has.
at that. Back then, it wasn't the case. We were dusting my car. We were dusting the car.
No, but I'm saying, but now that they actually have every Bahamian citizen who has a passport, the fingerprints, they don't dust for fingerprints.
Yeah.
So when you say investigations, it sounds like you're saying, "Oh, I need to use the bathroom, so I just making up something to leave the room." I don't buy it. Okay. I do not buy it.
Let's hear what you have to say about this, folks. And you feel confident that IRCA is investigating, that anybody's going to do anything for us. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Oh, well.
Yes. The subject matter this morning earlier, I tried to call in, but I was unable to. But I would like to ask Mr. Chester and yourself. Can I ask a question from both of you?
Stephen Hanna this morning, yes.
Stephen Hanna. I'm sorry, Mr. Hanna. Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
I would like to know from you all, your percentage. What percentage do you think of teenagers under the age of 16 give birth to children?
I do not have a percentage inside my head.
Why would you ask that question? I mean, because we won't have the facts.
I'm going someplace.
We would know.
But what would you can't just give me a figure?
No, because then we'd be guessing and we'd be
okay. But
that'd be
do you believe we have a percentage?
A percentage always exists.
Okay, well, let's agree that we do have a percentage of.
Yeah, but that could also be 0%.
Juvenile have children at the age of 16. What percentage of grandparent under the age of 35 are grandparent? Do you
How
believe?
would we know? Do you know?
Do
you know?
I think.
No, not what you think. Do you know? If you know, then
I
you
don't
can
know,
guess.
but we do have some, right?
All right, yeah.
So
maybe.
what am I saying?
Yes,
that is the question.
What am I saying is this: that we have a great percentage of children born out of wedlock.
No, you can't say that. You can't say
You
a
don't?
great
You can't?
percentage. You don't know what the number is.
Okay, fine. And I will say this. I heard you all this morning, but the police don't enforce the laws, etc., etc., etc.
I don't remember saying that.
Until we get it. The police is not here to babysit no one children or to raise or to wear and raise your children. The police is there to enforce the law when someone commits an act. Until we get that in our head, we could run and duck and dodge. The crisis center with Sandra Dane Patterson is out to lunch. We are in denial with the social disorder that we have in this country. And
How are they out to lunch?
All through the world, the crisis center is a biased center that when young man come to the hands of homicide, they don't say anything.
That's not what they're there for.
I condemn all rape and all form of rape, but the crisis center is a biased organization
Sir,
when it comes to man.
you're being ridiculous now. For God's sake, you need to stop your nonsense. Every day we let you come on and talk this. Stop. That is not what they're there for. If you want to start an organization to talk about it, start it. What are you waiting for? You just have a problem with women. You have a problem with them doing what they're supposed to do. That's what they're all about. Rape and people who are the victim of sexual violence. That's what they're there for. Right? You start the organization to talk about. You don't have to attack them. For what? Yeah, all these things are true. What you're saying, the families are in crisis. Absolutely. The men and women in this country are raising terrible children. Not all, many. Yeah, we got broken families. It is a giant mess. But we also have problems with the police. All of these things are true. Everything. What is the blame all about? I mean, some people do deserve the blame. But come on, you are intentionally blaming certain things. And for what reason? What's your agenda?
You don't like women.
Does it make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. We're getting tired of it. I allow you to do it, but you're really annoying us now. Seriously. For God's sake, stop the stupidity. Come on.
I mean, also, I just feel like it would be great if one time any of these people could just come on and say, I want to push for as ridiculous laws to be put on men as they do for everybody else. Let's go march, because right now they want to go march in the streets for everything from everybody else, right? But it's like no one is saying anything about from their great grandfather time when we talk about the traditional family. Your great grandfather had 4 traditional families on the same corner.
Oh, God.
Right? But nobody want to talk about that. The reason why breast cancer is so high, the
Everybody's related.
Right, because the BRCA gene.
All the inbreeding. That's also why people are doing so poorly with their
schools,
education.
right. You want to know why.
This is a gigantic inbred cesspool.
But they don't want to talk about the fact that the reason why every time, why do migrants come here and they do better in school? Because they are not having sex with their cousins and reproducing people who are incapable of. It's the truth. These people that only real Bahamians. Oh, I'm sorry. If you believe that only a real Bahamian, you're only a real Bahamian if your grandmother is also your aunt and your cousin at the same time, then congratulations. Then you are alone. I don't want to be that type of Bahamian. All right? Okay. The whole point is these people will come and they'll push all these stuff that they hear on other international stations and say we need to fight against transgender this and that. And those things are not they are not our issues that need to be addressed there. You taking on other people's hate and bringing it and importing it over here and neglecting the actual issues in front of you. Yesterday you had several reports about older men, having sex with his daughter. Next one is a principal trying to kiss the little girl. He
did kiss her.
Right. He tried to kiss her further, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And you have people messaging and saying, what wrong with kissing? What wrong with kissing her? Old woman is kiss man in church. That's exactly how they said it. With their weird voice, right? That's because they have to have a weird voice. They would not talk about, let's actually get to the root of the matter. You want to talk about the family being destroyed? Gay people are not destroying your family. Straight people are destroying your family. There are straight people in your family going out making other families and don't have time for either families. Mm-hmm. Deal with that. But you literally want to go and say, I don't want to address my issue. I want to have free, because you notice none of these people ever come around and say, let's make marriage mandatory if a man gets a woman pregnant. They'll never say that. Right. They'd never say that. But they want to know, if I do get married, I can rape my wife every day.
Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that.
You have to get married to a woman if you get her pregnant.
Murder rate will go up, though.
Only the man will be getting murdered. The man will murder themselves, right? If you get married to somebody, you cheat on that person, you go to jail for 7 years minimum, and then the second time 9 years. No. Because that's the thing. It would change how these people look at the world and life in general. They would actually start to look at the problems and they'd start to make wiser decisions, not only before they call in, but before they jump into these relationships. These people are in denial and delusion.
Yes,
everything is not the fault of
that
Haitians,
is the theme.
Of gays, and of women. Sometimes it is the straight man in the country that is the problem. Most of the time it's rich people, but sometimes it's just straight men that are the issue. And us as straight men need to acknowledge that and stop going around and saying, it's the gay agenda destroying the family. It's the gay agenda that's polluting the children's mind.
But, the fact that this is even coming up while we're talking about people getting raped.
But no one...
That's insane.
But no one who called and text every time we was talking about that, and we, without any push, the conversation just drifted
into weird directions.
Right.
Absolutely, man.
And so it's like, that's just what it is.
And we were at this moment talking about outages at BPL and our summer of discontent.
Yeah, but it's the family.
But, boy.
And it is the family. So I encourage everybody, if you want to see the Bahamian family thrive, meet me on Bay Street, and we will protest that every man that is guilty of what is called adultery needs to get 7 years in prison.
The adultery thing...
Bay Street will have no traffic today. No, I'm saying...
But, see, we do a whole show on this. But, sometimes Not making excuses, but sometimes.
No, Dwight. I understand, Dwight.
Sometimes.
I'm saying this for the people who want to, who claim.
But let's
they
talk
save
about the people with all the children who would never even think about it. And knew from before they met this person they were going to marry her. But then running on about the family, right? Running on about the family, lots of children, 10,000 of them.
I don't want to hear from them.
No, we got to do something about that.
I don't. Listen, my thing is, Dwight, if you throw in a rock at one,
Right, but
throw the rock everywhere, right?
Okay.
So don't come on the don't. If I on the show on Fridays,
you have a bunch of blind people.
Here's the day, Thursday to Monday.
But can you imagine the people making
Say
the
the
most
craziness.
noise? The ones with the children all over the place, with the
Of
children they don't
course.
talk to, and children they've never seen, and children they
They don't
turn
like the
their head
child,
from,
and the child don't like them.
The most talk from those folks.
Of course.
What is that about?
Because they're
And the ones
lying
talking about their
hypocrites.
family.
They're lying hypocrites, and that's the truth of the matter, all right? And so it's like they will find everybody
So
else.
maybe
to
they're
blame.
trying to tell people not to be like how they.
No.
Don't be like me.
They never
I
mention
don't talk to my
themselves.
daughter or my son, and I
They
can't.
never
see.
mention themselves. They mention the Haitians, the gays, and the women, but they will never mention themselves. You want to fix the country? Start with the thing that you can fix, which is yourself. Look at yourself and saying, where am I failing as a Bahamian citizen? How can I improve myself? Because once you start doing that, people say, boy, Dwight, I noticed he is do this. He really get it, and that'll inspire somebody else to do something. But you won't call in every day and try to sneak in a diss against Haitians. Call in every day, try to say, oh, I noticed that donuts don't have big holes no more. That's the LGBTQ. Everything is gay people. Everything is Haitian and everything is women. And I can't wait for the day when a lesbian Haitian take over this country. Take it away, Dwight.
Should be atheist too, I'm sure.
Well, that's too much, that Dwight.
What?
These people you caught somebody swerve off the road just now.
You're gonna get knocked down when you walk out this building. You better watch your back, sir. What are you doing? And this week we're celebrating our independence, talking such heresy. How dare you end the show in that manner?
Bahamas.
Oh boy. Have a great weekend, Stephen. I'll be back, I believe.